Will nightmares reign or will dreams burn up in flames? That is the question that will be answered today as we will be watching Incendia continue their in the Faceit Masters tier of EMEA, where they will face Dreamlight. Incendia at the top of the standings. Dreamlight just about where you need to be in the playoffs. So an important match for both teams to save their place for Dreamlight and to keep their place for Incendia. My name is Gio. I will be casting this match for you alongside my fellow British counterpart, Jace. How are we feeling about this one?
Hello, yeah, hyped to be here. Thanks to Incendia for having me on. Unfortunately, Spectron couldn't make it today, so you've got me instead. But nonetheless, hyped to be here. I am perched up, as has been the stream title of every content creator in Overwatch for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, Gio, this is going to be my first real look at the Faceit Masters with the perks in it. Already a big fan of the hero bands, and as I said, and as you said, both of these teams have got so much on the line. And Incendia fans everywhere, especially in the Twitch chat, going to be hoping for a win today.
And it's a big win because, of course, it's been broadcast. All of this loveliness being brought to you by the partners of XYBA Productions and CGL. So, of course, thank you to Incendia's partners for bringing our beautiful faces to your screens and the beautiful match to your screens. Let's have a little look at the schedule, because we've got a range of matches, of course. Today, of course, is Incendia up against Dreamlight. Incendia will be taking on Demi Pero. That is on the 4th. The NA version of the dates kind of messed me up a little bit there. The 6th of March will be when they're up against 0907, and the 18th they'll be up against TA Sports, who currently are second, although they have played 4 games, so that might not be the case after all the other 4th games are played. But right now, TA are the second in the standing, so that should be a pretty good match. But let's have a little look at the Incendia roster. The DPS are Cookie, Cloud, Hybrid, Kronos, and Sobek, and they will be up against the Dreamlight roster, which of course is going to be D-Cruz, Screen, Centra Lapan, Tomex, and Rod FD. So we have some 2 good rosters here. We've obviously Incendia is who we're following. We've got some information about those. The most interesting fact about Incendia, I think, is Hybrid's recent turn to tank. That's really interested me. It's only been a recent change as well, and something that must be pretty difficult for a player, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the idea of moving from a mechanical role to one that requires a lot of game sense is going to be difficult. Of course, let's not forget, obviously there was a lot of, I'd say, some negativity and some criticism towards Hybrid's performance in the Overwatch League, but that is long gone now. We're in a completely different game, and of course in a new role. So this is almost like the cleanest slate that you can get. Map 1 is going to be Lijiang Tower. This is a classic. Absolutely, if I had a single British pound for every time I've casted Lijiang Tower Map 1, or Geo, I'd be living on a yacht right now. The bands coming in are Ball and Cassidy. Dreamlight obviously taking away the ball. Very strong pick for Incendia's tank over there. Dreamlight as a roster, I've seen a couple of them. Obviously, Rod and D-Cruz appearing many times being Portuguese. I've had my eyes on them for a while. Both very, very talented players. And of course, Monsieur Tomex, the second richest man in Estonia. Maybe the only other esport player in Estonia, right next to Admiral Raptor, the Reddit warrior, the warlord on the frog, the always viscous frog. I can't think of any Q's alliteration in the moment. In terms of the bans, Gio, I think obviously taking away the cast, you're just looking to walk on people, right? You're looking to play that poke one. Of course, when you ban cast, it means that Hybrid is going to get poked out way less compared to something like the Sojourn. I think the most important thing though is probably the idea of the flashbang, right? which potentially opens up flanches late. But for now, the Cass ban is interesting. That's something I'll get into later, because I'm thinking, like, why ban Cass when you're just going to play Sojourn on this map anyway?
And here you can see Cookie is on the Sojourn down the flank, looking for some angles. Hybrid taking some damage, going to be rotating onto point just so they can set themselves up there for Central to push in. The course is just going to be forced into a block in a lot of this, trying to get some punches in. A bit of a boop there almost caused chaos there for Incendia. The point actually swaps over. Squain finding Sobek really helps out, but the fact that they've lost their tank really means that they have to back up, get out of town. They are just staying focused for now, see how much percentage they can get. But of course, Hybrid's walking forward, and those two big miniguns, those are nasty, and they're going to force the backup.
Yeah, it's a veteran pick from Cookie. Seen that experience all the way back when they were on Ex-Oblivion. It's an alright trade. Actually, it's a great trade for Incendia, taking down their tank. Central Pan cannot walk. They're going to get shot to all living 7 hells in this scenario. And if they have to walk through the literal burning ring of fire that Hybrid is going to put on them, then they've got Cookie and Cloud to deal with as well. It's really difficult for the Ram to play in this matchup once they are in that form, once their shield has gone down. It's a lot of healing from the side of Dreamlight, but ultimately it's more converted into ultimate charge as opposed to actual sustain.
Big slam into the back, Tom X goes down. Of course, that orbital ray is supplying so much damage. Cloud able to just burst down Central Pad and send them back. Nice clean engage there for a good clean win.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward fight, right? Like, if you haven't seen Juno since release, there you go. Cronus manages to build up the ultimate before Tomex. Hybrid did a great job of juggling that aggro. They're going to get shot way more than Central Pan is, and of course, Central Pan falling means that Hybrid was alive longer in the fight. That meant they had more effective HP to be healed, and Cronus just rips the satellite, rips that beam so good from them. And Incendia just use it to take space, and it's basically a free fight for them.
Yeah, orbital, the speed ring going on to point, going right into the barrage, already moving around. Central Fan knocks them out with a haymaker. Of course, the molten carpet there that's been laid out by Strain is helping the team get the point. Cookie just forcing him off now with an overclock, trying to turn it around, needs to back up a little bit, low HP. You see Central Pan already just blocking up before the regroup here. They're just going to take that loss and go at it again. Cloud goes down as well.
Yeah, and see perks have finally come into activation. Hybrid's double heart means they're likely to stick on the point. Remember, those double hearts mean you count as 2 people on the objective and you reheal 20 HP per second. So fun fact, guys, your heart regenerates 10 HP per second. But speaking of cool, D-Crew's going with the overclock. Let's see how many you can get.
Big boop into the void. Rod FD wins the fight before it even started. They do get a little bit of vengeance enacted on them, though, as Hybrid has actually found 2, the both supports, but it won't be enough here. Surely as Hybrid will go down.
Yeah, just the damage coming in. They were just sort of corralled, hurdled onto that edge, and Rod gave them a swift sayonara, a swift ciao, as we say in Portuguese, Spanish as well, but nonetheless, it was just a swift end for Incendia in that fight. And Dreamlight committed a lot for it though, and Incendia, they're going to be happy to have those support queues back online again. Cronus' ability to just walk with that satellite is so good, but Dreamlight, they go early! They catch Cronus before the rotation!
Yeah, so much speed in this roster with the Juno and the Lucio. They've got so much percentage that doesn't really matter too much to them that they've lost a point. They can come back in. However, they do have to be aware that they could lose this fight, especially if Cloud's going to find elimination. Big move there. Lucio just about saving him. Rod FD scraping by. Cloud finally gets cleared up. It's blue skies here. Incendia able to swap the point. They're getting that percentage, but they are losing the numbers. This orbital ray needs to do wonders, and of course we know it does. It is matched, so it's not going to be the value they thought it was going to be. Sound barrier as well coming out from Rod FD, keeping them alive, forcing them off the point. Dreamlight have control right now, so they're just trying to clean up the rest of Incendia. If Hybrid going down, Molten Carpet coming up, that's going to be Dreamlight taking the first sub-map here, and
so
spectacularly so.
Really well played from Dreamlight. Once they got on the objective, they did a really good job of anchoring it. I think in these long fights, the poke should actually be won by Incendia. With the Brig, with the Farah as well, they've got the ability to take angles and put so much damage pressure onto Central a plan, but again, like the hybrid showcasing the damage that the Mauder can take. I just, unfortunately, in this scenario, and this Mauder can really get poked out. The presence of the Torbjorn as well is something that we're slowly seeing, and with these perks coming in, Geo, man, Overload is such a broken ability. If it wasn't already the best single ability in the game, once you get your perks up to level 3, it absolutely is. You reload your gun, you get level 3 turret that we've not seen since probably 2019. Then he's going to force changes. Hybrid has to mirror the Ram. Cronus has to go over to the Moira just to keep them alive. Cloud going over to the Ben, my favourite non-binary Minecraft cosplayer. And now, what this means for Incendia is they're going to look to play fast and front to back.
Ooh, digging in, there goes the Venture. Cloud trying to follow up on it. Hybrid does take Tomex down, so less healing now. Screen also gets punched out. Hybrid, like the look of the Ramatra, has decided to mirror it here to some great success. D-Crew's also going to go down here, and it's really worked out for them. They've swapped tanks and immediately found out that, yeah, probably Ramatra's the choice.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people originally cited about perks coming in was that it would disincentivize this tank swapping, but it absolutely doesn't. If you're in a negative tank matchup, it doesn't matter that you have perks. What matters is that the enemy has perks, because they're in the winning spot. And for me, a lot of the tank perks are what I describe as win more, if you're familiar with that term in card games. You're in a positive matchup, positive scenario, and it helps increase that snowball. Speaking of snowball, it ran right through Screen.
Yeah, going right through the speed rings. There's so much speed here on this side, and you can just feel it. You feel the pain. Even Incendia with just the Lucio boost, and then Kronos falling up with so much healing. Of course, is going to have Coalescence for this next fight.
Yeah. I mean, Incendia, right? Like, it's such a quick fight for them. Kronos doesn't even get the time in these fights to build up Coalescence, but the fact they've got it already is going to be a big boon for Incendia as they go here. Dreamlight potentially looking to touch the point.
The big bean of pain. Sorry, the British in me came out there. Hybrid getting healed up now. They're able to sustain. You see the members of Dreamlight kind of like backing up a little bit, trying to get some breathing room, see if there's an angle back into this. They still have their tank with the overclock coming from Cookie on this flank. Again, they're going to have to back up. Dreamlight constantly put on the back foot, but they are coming up to the orbital ray. They could come back into this one.
I mean, Dreamlight are going for Burgerland here. The way they've got 5 guys, all with Q buttons ready to go. D-Cruz is on the flank.
Yeah, D-Cruz looking to take out Cookie. Cookie escapes, so that does mean there's one less player here on the core. And yeah, Ram can survive a few things. Those Hellfire shotguns in their face, yeah, not for so long.
Yeah, so 2 ultimates gone from Dreamlight. It's big 2 though. It's both the Juno and the Ramatra, and both of those are pretty much guaranteed win buttons. Now you've got a responsive ultimate in Rods, and you've got both DPS ults, which honestly aren't that good, particularly Death Blossom here. I think is so fake into 2 DPS that can either one-shot you, or just completely negate it, or just push you away and one-shot you through it anyway. So, if you're looking for it, that Sound from Rod might even have to come out to save one of their own DPS during their ultimate, which is like worst case scenario if you are Dreamlight here.
Yeah. A lot of pressure there on Lucio Flora. Back into the fight. Immediately forces the overclock. Screen just falls apart there. So much upfront damage. And again, they're able to just get into these fights so quickly and kind of shock Dreamlight in that. However, it hasn't quite followed up. D-Cruz went for the Blossom. Unfortunately, looked like many of my Blossoms in my games didn't last very long. The pedals got clipped on it. They're still in this one, looking to put down Molten Core, trying to secure some space. Does enough for Hybrid to go down, but Kronos has Coalescence up. Almost actually went down to the Molten Core, needs to be careful, but looks like Dreamlight's actually held on to this one.
Yeah, and Central is doing a really good job in these fights of just living. 5v5, your tank is the anchor. Once they go down, yes, it's only 20% of your team, but it honestly feels like 60. Tanks are so overtuned, so overpowered, they do so much damage, they live for so long, but sometimes when you make an overactive play, when you try to be too proactive, you can just get blown up. That's what we saw there from Hybrid, and Central just punished them.
Speed ring plus the orbital ray. You have nightmares about that if you play enough Overwatch. Kronos is going to go down immediately, just not to sustain, to have the fight. Trying to speed their tank back into spawn for a little bit of safety.
I think Incendia are just really getting checkmated here. Every time they try and walk with Hybrid, they're missing cooldowns, there's not enough healing going through, and someone just kind of dies. And Strain, yes, he's been picked off for a couple of times, but that Torb was just so much tankier than the rest of that Incendia comp. So really, Incendia are into this fight, Geo, down cooldowns.
Yeah, and you can see the tankiness of that Torb already, able to stay alive. Won't stay alive against this, but I don't really know how much Wonder is going to do. We need someone to really
Cloud.
pull out some big steps. Cloud just isn't enough. Try to overcast the light of Dreamlight, but nonetheless, looks like Dreamlight's just a little bit ahead there. That was definitely their map, and they took it, starting this series with a win, and they are the lower seed. They are the team that's fighting to still be in contention to be in the playoffs in that AFC seed. So this is looking very good for them.
Yeah, really coming in with a good strategy here. Playing this Lucio Juno, which I think allows you to get the Juno ultimate so quickly. It also kind of allows your Lucio to do stuff like this. Like when Rod is feeling the angles like that, is playing that Lucio surf and getting that value. Why would you take them off what is likely their best hero? We see a new look at the perk there as a moving barrage. Honestly, it didn't even make a difference. It just allowed them to get a bit more of an angle. But I just kind of want to point, Gio, to how much damage it felt like Hybrid was taking compared to Central in these points. Even in the mirror, like so many fights, Incendia, if they can just stable and walk in with their tank, like it's completely freeload. But Hybrid loses HP. They can't push. They get taken down. They get traded. And all of a sudden, Dreamlight from a losing position, it's playable, and they've got pieces on the board to be able to punish. Strain stayed on that top the whole map and was really just there to make Hybrid's life a living hell.
Yeah, like it feels like they are just like a little, like just one tweak away from like being able to do a little better in these fights. I mean, Hybrid has been doing well in terms of like outputting damage, having eliminations, and being a presence, but I do feel like you're right. You can kind of feel it, right? It's kind of visceral, the damage that Hybrid's taken versus Central Japan, and I think part of that might be like the Torb. Torb is such a strong spam character, and then you have a Torb and a Reaper. The alt fire of Torb, then the Reaper shotguns. It's double tank burst. It's like you may as well be a balloon at that point. Pop goes the weasel, and it's over. Esperanza is going to be our next match, our next map, I imagine. Now, obviously, you're thinking new set of bans. What are we going to see this time? Do we see the Ramatra ban? Do we see the Torp ban? What would you do in this scenario if you're Incendia and you're down a point?
So one thing I will say is that if you mirror compositions that we saw in Control Center, Incendia will for sure have a lot better a time, because the thing with the Torbjorn and the Reaper is that, as I said, you're just playing to make Hybrid you're just playing to make Hybrid want to uninstall, right? But the one thing that they can contest that with is the Sojourn. They can control the high ground, go on the off angles, get the slides, particularly around Bell Tower, in this neutral fight to be able to punish that Torb. You're going to get infinite rail charge off the enemy tank and use that to convert. Dreamlight are going to take away the Tracer. Incendia taking away the Kiriko, which could potentially signal some Ana coming in, or just in general potentially looking to play something like a Moira. Cronus was getting a lot of value on it last map. That is for sure. And I think Kiriko in general, this character on this map is so strong. You can play with your tank, you can play split on angles. And anytime a team bans Kiriko, if they don't play it all the time, I'm like completely okay with it, because this character is just so busted. Her perks are broken, ridiculously strong. And whatever Hybrid wants to play here, whatever Cronus wants to play here, whatever is strong at the moment, whatever they feel is strong on this map, Kiriko would probably do well into it. So happy with that ban from them. And Dreamlight, I think, just looking to protect their backline a little bit more. Interesting Tracer ban when you're going to commit to the Torb, though. I feel like Torb does a great job into Tracer, but it sort of just locks him, I think, into having to play that Tracer like lane check, kind of you're permanently marking, and then if you can't, if you're permanently marking the Tracer, you can't shoot Hybrid, right? So
yeah, and it kind of like attacks Incendia's ball composition if you can't play Tracer, so it's another targeted like attack on like what they want to be doing. But of course, Hybrid on the Wrecking Ball can play it this time, and we're going to see what the game plan is. Doesn't have a Tracer, so not looking to go in too deep too soon. Oh my god, Tomix already goes down. That's a massive loss for Dreamlight. Incendia are going to be, sensing the blood in the water for sure. They're just following up on that, and the damage there. They're going to get some nice push off the back of that. Yeah,
there's the anti that comes in, right, onto Central to force them to back out. But I believe that was actually just a railgun from Cookie. You can see how much ult charge they've got already. It was either a direct from the Farah or a railgun hit to combo with that basic primary fire from Hybrid, because, wow, Tomex just got deleted on that Juno. That is not what you want to see for Dreamlight. It's going to give Incendia an early advantage here. And having point control on ball is so good, because you just stick one of your squishier members on court and your ball is allowed to play these rotations, such as the rollout hybrid is not planned here. Basically ready to slam choke and create a little bit of a kill box.
Yeah, the Batman Arkham experience, poised and ready to defend Gotham against the criminals of the night. Doesn't quite get much done. It's just going to push the point, which you can't really say much about Batman. I don't know how much of an objective pusher they are, but Hybrid takes Screen out, following up on yet another nice railgun shot. They're very communicative of these, because you can see the follow-ups right there. Big slam into the back, that pile driver, forcing them to think twice, and Tomix goes down. And that's forcing the push back. They're going to get the forward spawn off of this, Chase.
Yeah, really big for Incendia. And again, I'm not actually sure how good Batman would be in this scenario. Unfortunately, it's Marvel rivals and not DC rivals. But it's definitely, it was a strange fight there for Dreamlight, and sure, I'm not really totally confident that they had their game plan there. I think they just see Farah swap D.Va Echo and think, yeah, it's good. Of course, it's going to be all right against the rest of their comp, but the D.Va and the Echo just felt like it's really hard to get going. Decrease on this Cassidy. Maybe that's why it was banned away last map, because very confident on this Cowboy. It's going to be a good answer as well into this Wrecking Ball.
The clock gets taken out. The clock's been reset. D-Cruz finding it there. Now, the plan's gone. The plan was revolving around that overclock. D-Cruz has said, I don't give a damn what the plan was. I'm ruining it with my Peacekeeper, and does so brilliantly in a very Wild West fashion.
There we go. Cowboy Gunslinger, go burr, and instantly the overclock is shut down. Great play as well. I believe the Juno came with him to support that angle. We're getting just perks unlocked now. 6 minutes and 40 into this map. And I think D.Va's ones are very strong as well. Going to make her a bit more survivable, and she needs to be in this comp, because this D.Va of Central just needs to be everywhere.
Rod FD bullied into the corner, then barraged onto. Oh god, that's cyberbullying. Hybrid needs to back up. The mine started that one to create some space. Cloud going down though, and Hybrid also from Screen is going to mean they can continue to do this push. And if they get any staggers here, they'll definitely get this forward spawn.
Yeah, Screen showcasing some good flexibility. Doesn't quite have their perk yet, of course. Swapped after a couple of fights, but it's definitely. We have been bear witness to some good Tor play and some good Echo play as well coming out from Strain. A lot of final blows on map 1, continue it on map 2. And this Echo does so much damage against this Incendia composition. You can play it like an assassin, you can play it like a poke DPS, you can do whatever. Got the ultimate ready to go as here in case you want to decide to show us a third character. You gotta play it all on Echo anyway, right? So why not?
Exactly. And if you were wondering what that metal on metal noise was, that was the butt scratch unleashed. D-Cruz though, the metal sound of the trigger being pulled. Cloud gets taken out the sky like it's clay pigeon shooting. D-Cruz again on these angles, is always looking for these angles, not playing that main lane, forcing Cronus into a bad position. They're going to go down. Now it's a bit awkward here for the Incendia side. They're now against the clock. They are now the team that needs to gain back, and they're still losing members.
Yeah. And still getting heart push. So this gap is continuing to widen from the side of Dreamlight. And we always say push starts at 3 minutes, and Geo, we're 2 minutes away from the map really starting. Cookie's going to decide to rip the OC. Let's see if he gets any value.
It's already a little bit better than it was before. No D-Cruz to spoil the party. Somix is going to be the one that goes down to it. And it's enough, but with Hybrid going down, you don't have that presence anymore, that space creation. You're kind of hoping you hit your shot. Yeah, able to build up. That railgun takes Screen out. Now we're looking like we're going to be able to follow up. So much damage being output by Cookie. We knew they were a good player. They get whipped away. But there goes the mech. Finally, Incendia are going to get control, and they've got some ultimates to try and keep that control, but they're up against an orbital ray.
Yeah, Strain gets a reminder. Turn your monitor on, press tab, bro. You're playing against Sojourn in 2025. This character is unreal if left unchecked, particularly with a round uncharged. That blue gun is the only thing that Strain sees before they get a swift end right between the eyes from the hands of Cookie. As I said, veteran coming in, and that's a veteran shot Big players hit those big shots. Hybrid playing a little bit of state 3 here. Can he find the rollout? Man will get the slam, but he still gets Tomek.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Chef's kiss on that one. DPS to tank, swinging around like it's their own personal jungle gym. And with only the investments of the mines, they are going to get control. However, there is a little bit of contention on the point, meaning they don't get the kind of progress that they'd hoped for.
Don't know what the Estonian is for get out of my lobby, bud, but I don't think Hybrid speaks it, but he doesn't need to. Cronus has the Nano here, should likely go onto the Genji. Could be a Nano Blaze, could just be Nano Soj, because again, as I said, that character is completely broken. What do Dreamlight have in response? Because they're slowly falling into a hole here. If they are. Actually, I might be the one way around. Incendia need to get themselves back up. They've got to be very resourceful with these ultimates. Hybrid.
And it's not going to be so easy if Hybrid goes down. There was a lot of damage there. They tried to follow up, essentially. You saw that damage of the Disruptor Orb almost take out Rod FD. They went in to follow up. Rod FD does go down, but you lose your tank for it. And now the cleanup's there. And you say push starts at 3 minutes. Well, the control is still in Teamlight, and they've got the lead.
Yeah, and Dreamlight in such a good position economically. Even in isolation, don't really care too much about Incendia's ultimates if you're Dreamlight in this spot. What you can do is you can just go 1-for-1. You really don't have to get any more percentage on the card if you're them. You only really need to win by 1, and it looks like the Nano Blade has come out. Incendia have had enough.
Yeah, the old classic. Forget your bullets. Forget all these new style heroes. The classic Nano Blade is enough to clean it up. 2 ults invested, but it does mean a nice, quick, clean fight win.
Yeah, some good old Brexit Overwatch there, as we say. Just standard Nano Blade, absolutely as traditional 4-4-2 as you would get in that aspect. Cookie, though, on the overpowered character with the good ultimate. Dreamlight. I've got some ways to smother it, that's for sure. Central pan. I just feel like it's so difficult for the D.Va in this spot, Gio, because it's almost too good against every single character. That this D.Va from Dreamlight is going to be so locked in if you're able to pull their resources. Remember, attention is that all-important resource. The minute they misuse their DM... What, Hybrid?
Oh, God.
It's the cast, right? Stuck. He just gets hindered and he dies.
Yeah,
wow.
Tricky position. Tries to escape from it, gets hindered, dies. And you are right. Your Central Plan has so many potential jobs that you do need to lock in. You need to choose where you are. The copy there from Screen is just going to force Incendia to back up, and that's a smart decision.
I mean, it's so different, right? Both of these tanks. Hybrid has one job, which is to go and slam Tomek and Rod. Honestly, Dietrich as well, don't slam the backline. Whereas Central has to be everywhere, doing absolutely everything. And even then, Hybrids, it's because of that one job that it makes them more predictable. Screen. Nice right click.
Kronos does fight Screen, but it's the back and forth bloody battle, but the forward spawns are with Dreamlight, and they're still holding on to these ultimates, and it is 38 seconds left.
And Incendia have got to chain a lot of fights together, and I don't know if their ultimates are going to allow them to do it. There's going to have to be some miracle engages. Beat comes in just to live.
Just saves Kronos, who was doing some kooky things there, and the backline dropped like they were playing Wrecking Ball, but Hybrid was there to follow up, saves them long enough. Central Plan does eventually find them. It hasn't quite went well. It was a bit of a strange one, a Hail Mary play. But 10 seconds remains, so Hybrid needs to get this touch.
Yeah, and Dreamlight, luckily for Incendia, they're going to push the cart, so it gives them a little bit of extra meter, but on the flip side, Incendia get the push. But they've got a long way to go. They are very, very far from home. And Dietrich is on the flank. One flashbang, one mag grenade, and it could be series over. Not a good start for Incendia.
Yeah, it's enough damage to follow up. Screen gets the slash, and the dash damage too much. Hybrid going to go down. Cloud. 2 HP in a dream, potentially, you never know. Don't count anything out, but I think it's too much of a dream, and you're up against the team that makes the dream, so it is going to be difficult. Cloud's going to get taken out, D-Cruise as well. You can see why Cass was bad now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Suddenly, Incendia, who have yet to lose, they are undefeated at the top of the standings. They now find themselves 2-0 down. They need to reverse sweep this if they want to keep that spot.
I really wonder if the Cass ban was potentially premature, because Cass is available for this map, it is available for the rest of the series. And we've seen the value that D-Cruise was able to get on it. In the end, this composition of Dreamlight. I just think he's more flexible, more versatile, and just ultimately a lot more powerful. Once Dreamlight were able to make those 2 swaps, like it was so not close. Incendia, look, getting out to like this 50-meter lead, and then once Central went over to D.Va, once Strain went over to that Echo, like it was 20 meters for Incendia got, compared to Dreamlight, who ran it all the way back to get 108. So, as I said, once those 2 adjustments came in from Dreamlight, it was a very one-sided map, and I often think that's a little bit of the issue with Wrecking Ball. I think A, the composition is really hard to play Geo, but 2, it's like also predictable. And of course, there's always the saying of, you know, fearing one man that has practiced 1,000 kits. But I really think unless you're like one of these, you know, weird ball one tricks that have been in the sewers practicing this hamster rat character since like release, and you know all the techs and etc., I think sometimes it can be a little bit hard to pick up and deal with when they've got particularly a lot of hate for you, which Dreamlight did have that map. They've got a lot of ways to hate on that Wrecking Ball to poke it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think ultimately, like, I'm not going to say that I think Hybrid underperformed that map, because I think the ball was doing a lot, but just the lack of follow-up on those hard engages was there. So many times Hybrid slams in, gets nothing, and it's like, okay, you're slamming in against a D.Va? Like, now this D.Va is just going to take over the lobby because you don't have any cooldowns for 12 seconds.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, sometimes I find myself walking down the street, I walk past like a drain, and I hear a squeak, and I think, what is that? And I get a little bit closer, and I actually start to understand the squeaks, and it's all the ball players asking me, is ball playable yet? Can we play ball in Overwatch 2? And they're starting to get the idea that it might be. So there might be a little bit of an infestation soon. But it is not bannable, because it's already been banned. Dreamlight are going to ban Hazard, and Lucio is gone from Incendia. So Hazard has been fairly meta before the ban, so getting that out of the way. Lucio means no speed here, so they're really targeting the maneuverability of Dreamlight.
And I really wonder now how Incendia are going to respond. They're in a hole, Geo, down 2-0, going to Sorivasa. Lucio ban, as we said, just another comfort pick gone from Dreamlight. But that Hazard takeaway, I think, is something that Incendia were maybe hoping for this map. Something to just get them back in this series. And, I mean, we've not seen either of these teams play Hazard. Central definitely looks like they're more into playing this D.Va and some of these broad characters. I think Hazard's perks are particularly quite strong. And on this map where you're able to short dive, it's even stronger. But we're getting the Mauga mirror. Basically mirrored comps, except it's a Pharah versus a Tracer. So in theory, on paper, Incendia should have the advantage. Cloud should be able to do a great job on not only blowing up this Mauga, but forcing out the Tracer from Strain as well, who is on another new hero.
Exactly, Strain going to be proving their flexibility here. But it's pure nature to fight hardest when you're in a corner. That's where Incendia find themselves. They're fighting out from it, and Cookie starts out with an overclock to Rod FD's head. That's going to stop the Brig from being able to keep that backline alive, meaning all those squishies are a little bit more able to get taken out. Central Japan is the first one to go. Not the squishy, but definitely going to find themselves back in spawn. This is a good start from Incendia. We need to see this energy for the rest of this map.
Yeah, great start from Incendia, and they can just win a fight by effectively Cookie landing that really nice railgun onto Rod. It's a small mistake, I think, from the Brigitte. Maybe had their shield broken, just missed position for a second. And as I said, that blue light is the last thing that flashes between the eyes before they are sent right back to the spawn. And good play from Incendia in this fight. As I said a couple of times, we just feel like Hybrid is taking so much damage. In that fight, they get into that Mauga, they get the overhealth, they get the cardiac.
Oh.
And again, Dreamlight now have to walk into the poke of Incendia, and they just can't do it. It's so much damage from Cloud and Cookie.
Pedestrians beware of flying missiles from the flying Pharah. Cloud raining down hailstones onto Dreamlight right now.
And Incendia slowly accruing percentage on this point now. Getting ultimates, don't really ideally want to use them on this one. Dreamlight. Not ultimates. Ready to go. Strain!
Oh,
Dice
no!
Strain!
No! Happens to the best of us, for sure. Cookie is going to get 2 here with the overclock. That's going to secure this first point, and yeah, this is what we want to see. This is the Incendia that I was hoping to see, and they need to keep this energy up. They need to keep this sort of level for the rest of the match.
Yeah, really well played. Again, I talked about sometimes tank in this meta. It feels like when you actually try and do something, you're doing too much and you just get blown up. And great job of really playing around the mass amounts of damage that Cookie and Cloud can do on these long sight lines in these poke phases of the fight. Dreamlight, honestly, that whole point, they didn't even get into a proper team fight phase because there was always a pick that came through. First it was first it was Rod, then it was onto D-Cruz, and finally Strain killed himself with their own ball spot.
Orbital Rays mixing together. Hybrid goes down, so you really need to turn this around. Barrage not enough to do so, but the direct hit onto Screen might be enough. Tomex goes down. D-Cruz, though, has pulled the trigger on the overclock. You see the Brick just trying to stay alive, but too much damage to do so. They are still up here. They're fighting with the sky, but they have control right now.
Yeah, and as the dust settles, so many ultimates used in that fight. I think it was like 5 or 6. Dreamlight have still got Rally, and they've got Cage. If I'm Incendia, you should recognize that you're down in an ult spot. And whilst the playmaking of Cookie and Cloud this map has been red hot, they have been on fire from these ranges. For them, Steph Curry, the way they be hitting it from deep with these long range shots. I just think this Rally and this Cage is so hard to walk into that you can just play to build up your own ultimates. Honestly, giving this point is totally okay.
Oh, caged, chained to the ground, Alfara's worst nightmare. That's gonna be the end of it. Nice and swift. And oh no, the stagger. And they do get it, and that's pretty much gonna be the point. You really don't get a touch from here.
No, it's swings and roundabouts, right? And on the one side, Dreamlight have just used 2 ultimates very early on time to take a clean fight and secure the point. On the bad side, that's only 1 point. Incendia walked away with a bit more ult charge. That ultimate is slightly closer to being online. Yes, you still have Barrage, but it is going to be a while before Dreamlight have a free fight win button. And Incendia are ready to go back with these ultimates. Every time soon, they're going to get potentially first rotation, just the respawns as well. Yeah, look at that. Potentially a little bit of RNG in the way that it rolled. But now Incendia should take full advantage of the fact that Dreamlight have to rotate into them. What does that mean mostly? Well, for Strain on this Faragio, it's going to be quite hard for him to play against these sightlines.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful of how they get into this battle. And yeah, sure, maybe you get lucky. Maybe the RNG's in your favour, but it's about how you use it. That's the important part. Trying to force out some movement there from Hybrid. You just see Scrain, how cautiously they need to approach this, staying so close to these corners. Looking for the flicks there onto Cloud, but you can't punch a Cloud. It is not tangible like that, but what is tangible are these rail guns that are piercing all of Dreamlight. Incendia get the control there with a nicely timed overclock.
Yeah, these railguns are rated E for everyone from Cookie because absolutely all the Dreamlight are getting it this map. They can all chew on it, absolutely. Down, another one goes, falling victim to the Cookie Sojourn. One more on the list, another body on the pile, Macbeth style. I'm sure you'll appreciate that as a Scotsman, Geo. For now, Cloud does have the perks. Could he be getting a little bit of a moving barrage?
Looks for it. I think was a little too eager and just not close enough to get the follow-up damage. Cookie does take Screen down, but you're in a Moga mirror, you don't have your Moga, so it's time to reflect on that and back up.
Dreamlight, though, they get the points, so I guess it comes out Millhouse for now, as the saying goes. You are still on top here. Just have to try and play the slow fight out, as I said. Yeah, Cronus really struggled to coming in here.
Very early fight, Hybrid takes down Central Pan. Orbital Rays are the nastiest ultimate in the game, and it does work out for Incendia as they will take back control, looking to try and get back in the lead on this map.
Like, I have so many questions, Gio. What are Dreamlight doing there, you know? Top 10 animals found in unusual places, and that time it was all of the Dreamlight team. They're in an unnatural environment. As David Attenborough would say, this is an unusual sighting of the Mauga composition in Spawn. Surely they tracked that Cronus had Ray, and, well, natural selection, of course, it puts Incendia in a great spot to go 2-1 up here.
Deer in the headlights, but now they've set themselves on the high ground, looking like Mufasa, looking down on the land. Cage is going to block the follow-up, though, and that's going to take Central Japan down. You've lost your tank, that's all of it. They rally into it, which is an interesting choice to make indeed, and it isn't enough because there's so much down already. Incendia are going to be taking the point.
Yeah, disaster for Dreamlight. They use 2 ultimates just to lose. And now they have only Cage to deal with this overclock from Cookie. That'll probably use it defensively as a shield. Central Pan will have all of these perks now, likely gone with the 2 hearts because it's just the more broken one. And that will be great as they try and cement themselves on point. Incendia here, though, 1 point away from getting back into it. And they can give up this one and just use it to generate a massive ultimate advantage, or they can try and go for picks, they can try and play it. Either decision is completely okay, because when you can get Cookie on this angle, Dreamlight have no response.
I mean, yeah, it's a good angle, but it doesn't matter if there's no one approaching it. It was a nice push from Dreamlight to recognize, oh, we're being flanked, let's just walk into the rest of the team who don't have the rest of the team to help them out. Nicely chosen by Dreamlight. Whoever coordinated that attack definitely knew the layout of the land quite well there.
Wow, this is a great call from Dreamlight. I'm not sure if they scouted the 3-2 split that came in order to get this off-angle OC from Cookie, but, you know, this is like Playbook 101. You see, for example, you know that the Sombra has translocated out and she's an invis, so you go and push the 4 or 5 of her team. You know that the Sojourn is going on the off angle, so you go and push that core who are ready to set up, and you just wipe them first before the Sojourn can really do it. And we saw, like, Cookie swung point to try and shoot them in the back, and they were already, well, in their back line. So a little bit of a no-you Uno reverse card flip coming in. And it's won Dreamlight this point. It's put them on 55%. And now that they're getting ultimates back up, it's a great spot. Cookie is dead already.
Yeah, and D-Cruz has a custom Uno card. It's called I Win. But Cloud trying to turn it around with a block. Not going to work. Skip the turn, go back to spawn. Dreamlight keep the point. And Hybrid's going to get staggered out here as well. I don't even think they touch again. It's going to be 2-2 here in Cerveza.
And it really is close. And now we get the flip side, right? Like, we talked about the Uno reverse. Dreamlight walked into this using 2 ultimates just to lose. Incendia have now done exactly the same. The Juno ult going down, that orbital ray loss is big. They would like that one back, absolutely. That's going to be a huge advantage for Dreamlight into this final fight. Now Dreamlight have put themselves in a position where they are 1 point away from securing the 3-0 in the series. Hybrid, they've got to come up big with this ultimate Geo. Who is that primary Cage target? I'm curious to find out. I'm eager to know. Mini Grav comes in there from Strain just to put some big poke damage. Let's send a little bit more towards the ultimate. But for now, the Pharaohs have found each other on the off angle. Very curious to see where the Sojourns have got themselves positioned for this fight. I don't think this angle is best for Soj, but...
yeah, just a minor dogfight there on this side. They're going to back up from it. Cage starting here. Dreamlight have more of an arsenal, but Incendia have more to lose. And Incendia, they're going to just take some time here to take a pause. Dreamlight have 6 on the point because of that perk there. And Incendia, they're very smart so far. They've just rotated around fully. They're back on the point now. They're forcing Dreamlight to push. But they have a really good angle here. The damage! Kronos just about survives by an inch and a hair, but the hair gets clipped. Kronos is gone. Now the Cage is going to clean up the rest of it, split them up, and this is a disaster for Incendia.
Yeah, it's absolutely a disaster because they're going to respawn at 60%. They're going to have to commit ultimates. But I mean, to be fair, it is final point, right? And Dreamlight, as I said, they're now down and out of Q buttons. But great flank from D-Cruz, again timed it. The first time they went for the off angle, it didn't really work. There's already the push coming in. This time, we see it. Dreamlight learn from the mistakes of Incendia and they put themselves at 75%. Good, strong position to be able to take the series right here. Incendia have to walk into them. This OC from Cookie has to be big. We've got to see the vet come up big yet again. We've got to see one of these miracle OCs, one of these miracle rails, because if not, Incendia might just be going home.
Ooh, weight on their
Hybrid.
shoulders. Damage into Hybrid. Cookie finds himself in the flank being forced out there by D-Cruz. Needs to find them, and it's Cloud on the other side of the map that is going to take it. They are going to get control, but it's 99%, and they've spent a couple of their pennies to get it.
Just a smoke screen, I think, from Cookie. The OC was a distraction. The mind control coming in from the Railgun as Cloud was able to drop that barrage onto 2. Huge flank from the Farah, went all the way around the other side. They got drawn to the left by the Railgun, and then they turned around and there was just a bunch of rockets in their face. Man, look at that mini graph from the conch mine. It's still so new to me, but seeing them all pushed together and a direct rocket flying in, It makes me nervous, Gio. It makes me nervous, that's for sure. This Pharah can do so much damage.
It should definitely make you nervous. Makes Incendia nervous. They know the orbital ray is ready. They have to win a fight here with no mirrored orbital ray. Big slam coming in. Oh, with the concussion. That could have been massive, but it was just a little mistimed. Broad FD goes down, but Hybrid going down. Cookie doing wonders. Cloud as well. They need to keep this up. They need to keep this clutch. But they still have Central Japan. The barrage is going to take them down. It's exactly what they needed. And in fact, with the percentage on the point, they might have just done it. They take down Tom X. It's panic stations now for Dreamlight. They're trying to get back. They could. That 3-0 was right there for Dreamlight, but Incendia, they fought from below. That was David versus Goliath. They had Orbital Ray, but Incendia fought back. Beautiful from the DPS lineup there. Outstanding.
Yeah, I want to just draw back to like the point I made on Esperanza about the aspect of predictability sometimes costing you because you walk right into the trap. Hybrid's timing on that cage from the Mauga is so good, right? Because Dreamlight want to walk with that Juno. They want to use it to get on point. They want to use it to cap damage, but Hybrid puts them all locked up. That orbital ray is going away from them, so most importantly, they don't get that healing. Because the damage boost is something that lingers. That healing effect is one that does not. But also important to point out that Cloud had used Barrage that point and had gotten another one. So crazy charge time from that Pharah on that point to rebuild it back up, and honestly just clutching it. Hybrid set them all up, and just like a bowling alley, Cloud was there to hit the strike and knock them all down. Realistically, you've got to give it up to Cloud. We talked about like the veteranship of Cookie, been playing the game for a while. But Cloud on this Pharah was so clutch, particularly on this point, which can be devastating for a good Pharah, and Cloud showed us perfectly the example there. Just so good from the bird in the sky. That finished bird, man, sent them all packing. Holy, what a barrage from Cloud.
Yeah, spectacular. I mean, what does that do to Dreamlight as well? The fact that, like, I mean, on paper, right, that's the fight you win. You've got Orbital Ray, they don't have Orbital Ray. Classically, that's just going to get you the win. The cage is just big enough at the start to get the DPS into position, and now Incendia, they're starting to roll. We're seeing the Incendia that is the top of the standings, and Dreamlight's chances of securing their place in the top 8 to make sure that they are going to get into the playoffs once they come around, it started to slip away, right? And now it's time for Dreamlight to show that they've got the mental to not let it slip away. But Incendia, they're picking up the momentum, right? And as the further we go in, the less of those targeted bans you can do because you're running out of heroes to target.
Yeah, I mean, Incendia also are going to have to win now. They're now going to have to win 2 maps in a row against Dreamlight's pick, right? So that is going to have to be very difficult for them. Route 66, though, has been picked by Dreamlight, which will likely mean, I think, again, just looking for this more long-range gameplay. Will we see the Sojourn ban coming in? Because it's not something that Dreamlight have really looked for. It looks like D-Cruise is far more comfortable on this Cassidy. Cloud and Cookie have been dominating with this Sojourn plus high mobility projectile combo. Is this the map where Dreamlight just take away that Sojourn and they say enough of your railgun shenanigans? Best DPS character in the game and has been since she got released. No more for you. Maybe.
Could
just
be Pharah
maybe.
as well, because they've not banned Pharah yet. They could target that Pharah, because you can play Pharah on route, right?
Take away... Yeah. Well, there you go. Genius. There we go. Pharah has been taken away from Dreamlight. I thought they would have potentially banned the Soj. Pharah on a map like this, where the sightlines are so open, is always something that's curious. But Incendia taking away the Diva, I think, potentially signals that they're looking for Hazard and Wrecking Ball. Which, of course, is, to be fair, that's actually like a no-brainer for anyone with even like remotely good game knowledge, because this is a map with long sightlines, right? This is a dive map. So taking away one of those options that is good against dive, one of the few forms of peel left in Overwatch 2, right, is that defense matrix. And yeah, there we go. Hybrid locks the ball. They really struggled against the Diva on Esperanza, and they just say, yeah, we're getting rid of it.
Yeah, looking at their comp, You can tell Cloud wanted to play Fire
Yeah.
again.
So,
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
probably.
Torba is very strong. Obviously, the overclock was already being used in meta before perks to survive dives. Is already stronger because of perks now, so it's a strong choice against, especially against that hybrid build.
I think it's important to note that I would say, why don't you just go Echo Strain? But I think the which was good, by the way, the Strain Echo that we saw on Esperanza was very, very good. A huge part of them winning. But I think Tracer was banned that map, and now Tracer being available in the lobby, I think can do a lot, particularly against that Echo, because the seconds that AI lands, they are just one-clipped by our favourite time-travelling British lesbian. Torb coming in here, though, going to be great on the defense. Just poke living. Hybrid is just looking for soft engagements to set up big, long-range damage here. Got to be careful about the amount of damage they're taking in these rotations, though, because already just getting caught and losing so much. Hybrid!
That broad FD messed up the whole flow.
Oh, I don't like
Hybrid's
that.
gonna be shaking their fist at that one. But yeah, it goes down, and you can already see Incendia like, yeah, we have the time to back up. We have another fight, so they're just gonna chill for a bit.
I really don't like what Hybrid did there. I think, honestly, the boop from Rod completely sent them, like, in terms of CC. Nice hard engage here. But again, just the way that they were so easily be able to be displaced, like it was just a Lucio boop and they were completely locked up with their own swing animation. And effectively, like, 700 to 0. Speaking of 100 to 0, goodbye decrease.
Yeah, Cookie continuing to show that they are a very strong player on the Sojourn. I mean, so much so that we were considering maybe they would ban the Sojourn against Incendia for that very reason. But they have got control for now, and Hybrid's going in for the slam. Has got both the Genji there and the Hazard. Going to back up a bit. Hazard brings it with the spike wall, the fellow Scottish tank there. Big slam into the back is going to force out some cooldowns. Well, actually, good healing there from the back line. Tomic's going down again. It's Cookie finding that opener. Such a strong player for them, but gets kind of booped into a tough position. They went behind them on a very far flank.
Ooh, Hybrid popping off.
There we go. Hybrid making up for the early mistake, and now it's Incendia getting the win there, holding on the defense.
Yeah, and it's in these mid-fights that the confidence, I think, for Hybrid is really growing on this wrecking ball. As I said, some of these engages just feel like they've gotten poked out, potentially a little bit of, like, mechanical misplay, which is fine. Like, we're all human, and this character is insanely hard. But in these mid-fights, when he's able to do some of these slams and find these mid-fight rollouts, it's been good, it's been clean from Hybrid. The beat comes in from Sobek. Incendia look to push their advantage. They're doing great in terms of slowly plodding this cart along.
The barrier hits everyone. Now the orbital ray summoned from above. Into Kitsune Rush. It's a bit of a stronger ultimate, but it does mean that you do have the ability to stay alive. Of course, it's Cookie finding Rod. Cookie, though, goes down to the screen. That blade finding Clouds. And Dreamlight have the advantage. Incendia kind of fighting from behind right now. Hybrid doing their best to, like, take attention. Did get an elimination there and is keeping the team alive here, just on the point. But yeah, Sobek got a little bit too close. It's going to get slashed there by the Hazard. And that'll be point 1 taken by Dreamlight.
Yeah, and Incendia honestly did a great job with this composition that can't really all in and just wants to play around the slam from Hybrid. Actually, they don't really have anyone to go in with in terms of flankers to combo with this wrecking ball. So doing a great job of playing those long poke games and really stalling out the cart. With the way that the maps were positioned, I thought there for a second that Incendia were the ones pushing the cart, but no, Dreamlight have had to put this into a snail pace, and that is not what their composition wants to be doing. Central so far up here on the Hazard, gonna have to retreat to avoid getting poked out, and man, Hybrid is, to be fair, doing a good job this fight of just honestly wasting Dreamlight's time. Like, this time, this attention is a resource, and this hamster is taking every single second of it.
Yeah, the road from DPS to tank is paved with hardship. A Hybrid proving that they're a player that's able to do it. But it's not like it's the first time we have seen a DPS player move to tank in the professional or tier 2 scene. The Hybrid definitely is one of the success stories at the moment. They are doing very well. And of course, it's creating the space for Cookie to basically paint this canvas of space with just pain and misery for Dreamlight. And Dreamlight are just forced into this corner.
Yeah, the streets of Route 66 are his canvas, and his paintbrush is a gun, and his paint is the blood of his enemies. The railgun has just been splattering them all over. Gonna have to scrape some of them off the floor with the railguns that Cookie has been hitting this series. And I mean, if you can continue to just do it, you deserve this kind of attention. You deserve the Solo Blade.
Yeah, big coordinated dive specifically to target Cookie. That was a great spike wall there by the Hazard of Central Japan, and it meant that Screen could just follow up. Blade, maybe not necessary, but does secure the win.
And to be fair, at least it looked cool on the Twitter dump, right? Like, at least. Because that was a really clean Blade coming in. And why take any chances, right? Like, there was no nano coming in, there was no long-range healing. That Genji was all on his own and just pulled it out to absolutely make sure and just, you know, incentivize the response to come in from Incendia. There was none and they just lose.
Yeah, when you're playing Brig like that, after you've used your bash for movement, you just become a stick in the mud, or rather a rod in the mud. Downpour there, I'm very familiar with it, being Scottish myself. Doesn't actually get much follow-up. Looks like the raincoats were being worn there by Incendia. They're able to hold on, and it is below a minute now, so Incendia, they're looking good here. They could hold second point.
Yeah, it's important to remember that Incendia are quite literally built to live in the rain. 3 of their members are from the UK, of which it rains 95% of the time here. So they said rain, don't worry about it. I will just firm it anyway, as we say in the UK. And yeah, all the rain, absolutely no worries whatsoever.
With a reign of terror from Cookies here, 150 power on this overclock as well. You saw Tomex literally survive by the skin of their teeth, but just getting back. Cookie getting hounded here, able to get away, gets the healing. Central Japan finds himself in a bit of hot water. And now it's overtime, so everything matters. Cloud laying down that Molten Core means it's difficult to touch, and with Central Japan going down, there is no touch, and that is going to be a point to hold. And that's very good for Incendia. That gives them a nice, clear goalpost that they need to score into.
Yeah, great hold from Incendia there, and in these first 2 map losses that Incendia faced, it feels like there was a repeated absence of tank presence late into these fights due to the fact that Hybrid was kind of just getting shot and killed, but it's really hard to shoot and kill this Wrecking Ball, which should mean that the more members of Incendia are getting shot and killed, but they're doing a great job of also just living. This Torbjorn is putting insane damage pressure, and we saw, right, like, Dreamlight are playing Hazard Tracer Genji, or were playing Hazard Genji into this Torbjorn, of which Cloud is doing absolute work into. That final point, even if Dreamlight did touch, it was going to be the hot foot treatment from them as the Molten Core came down. It was a really nice spread from Strain there, the way that they managed to distribute the Molten all across the payload and underneath it to make the objective basically just a death trap, a dot hell damage over time hell for Incendia, and so much so that Strain has said, okay, maybe Torb is just the best character in the game.
Honestly, yeah. I'm a fan of the spider turrets. I know it's not maybe statistically the best perk to choose, but you're
it's not.
saying
I don't think it's as good.
You're saying I can throw a turret on a wall. I'm gonna throw a turret on a wall. Spider turret, like hell yeah, sign me up. Hybrid says sign me out. Doesn't want to play.
Yeah, Hybrid looks at that comp and says nah, bro. Like, yeah, Hybrid has played tank enough. Yeah, you don't get that experience as a DPS player. You walk out of spawn, you see their comp, and you're like, yeah, bro, I am playing Wrecking Ball into that. I'll see you guys in 5. I'm gonna swap. Goes over to the Winston, my favourite space monkey. Let's see what they can get done. Looking very dapper is Hybrid with that skin. And important to note, between all my completely unserious analysis, that perks are reset. And I think a lot of perks from Dreamlight would be really good at shredding a Wrecking Ball and a Winston. So Hybrid has got a little bit of a timer. By a little bit, I mean about 3 minutes, where they can operate without all of these perks coming in that will completely Cincinnati 2016 our favourite space monkey.
Yeah, oh my god, don't remind me. I'm upset now. So's Rod FD with the amount of health that they're on. Just gets the healing there, stays alive. Tomex with a nice nade to keep their partner in crime alive. Kind of MOBA-esque the way you describe it, where they've got a timer that they need to win. They're not a team that needs to jungle, they're a team that just needs to push. And, well, they can't find too much right now, they're just taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah. And I do wonder if this downtime can lead to some more neutral poke, and Central fans so back in all of this. That's the last pick
I thought I would see the Sigma going on to the Lucio. But Incendia get a little bit too big for their boots, potentially, as Hybrid just goes down.
Yeah, Deku's taking out the Genji of Cloud there as well, and Genji's not specifically the card we've seen too much from Cloud this match.
Tomek's perk check.
Perk check?
Yeah.
We got perk
Just a quick check. Yeah. Tomek did not have a perk selected. Probably going to have one for this fight. Will likely be the bouncing nade, only level 2. Actually, don't think at this point these teams will get to level 3 on this first attack.
Oh, back on the engage. Yes, Suzu's already used. Bye-bye, Monkey. Hybrid sent back. And they might just need to reconsider this one because they're just throwing it against the wall and it is not sticking right now.
Yeah, I can understand the ability to just send it, right? But the C2 just comes in so early from Cronus, effectively leaves Hybrid out to dust as they receive a couple of hyperspheres and a rot straight through their gullets. Luckily, though, got beat and got Primal themselves in this fight. Now then, the nano boost from Tomek, I think, is the game changer. It's not the sleep dart change, actually. Not the bouncing grenade, so anyone dead put asleep is going to be a bit groggy when they wake up.
Yeah, the perfect choice against a dive composition. Cloud goes down immediately. Dead find Rod FD, so wasn't worth nothing. Screen finding Kronos. It's going to be a tough one. Hybrid actually finding D-Cruise, and that's a big pressure point going. It kind of alleviates Cookie a little bit to deal that damage if they've been concerned about the opposing Sojourn, but you still have a Sigma on this high ground. You're still taking damage, and Hybrid needs to be aware of where they need to position onto the Torbjorn there. Forces the overload, Overclock from Cookie is on. Big Earls there. Oh, but doesn't find the classic Cookie combo, which is taking them out. Kronos, though, is taken out. Dreamlight, Kronos came out big there, finding that. Of course, the extra damage from Primal is going to help. They will secure first point, just about.
Yeah, absolutely, just about. It cost them every ultimate, but Dreamlight ultimately fell. Well played from Hybrid, took so many resources, outlived. Just simply waited for them to get enough HP to be able to fight again, and went and found an excellent dive onto Strain. Vod had already died at that point. As I said, this Lucio against this Incendia composition is prime for the dive. No Brigitte here, so the supports of Dreamlight definitely chaseable. This is the issue with the Lucio Kiri into a comp that is quite static, as Dreamlight's is. Tomek doesn't really have anywhere to go. Like, where are you going to swift step in this composition? In theory, it should always be your Lucio, but if Incendia can pressure them out, then all you're doing is TPing into a killbot, a death angle, and an early grave.
Box comes out, Hybrid's already down because of the damage out from the Torb. Central Pan didn't find anyone, not that they necessarily needed to at this rate. D-Cruise did go down, but you can see that Cookie kind of decided that they weren't really getting the energy they needed to build up enough railguns and just went Widow instead. But again, finding that angle so difficult against this composition.
Yeah, I don't know if he can play Widow here. I think it's so bad into this enemy composition.
Yeah.
Level 3 perks have come online now. It's important to point out. I think this might potentially get Central out if they get pressured here. Level 3 perk, I believe, on Sigma allows you to float, which could get them up to the high ground. I'm a bit new in terms of perks, so still catching up. So yeah, don't flame me Twitch chat if I get that wrong.
Yeah, you could also get the one that forces them to flow, which would be very good against dive characters, kind of like messing up their movement.
Mini knuckle,
stationary position. Whoa. Cookie finding D-Cruise on the retreat there.
Cookie.
That is the signs of a good player who can back up and still getting elimination at the same time. This Kitsune rush is going to cause an issue. The sound barrier comes out, saves
Did we Ajax?
No.
Did we Ajax? Did we Ajax from Rod? Did Rod Ajax?
Actually, I think we might have. Yeah,
I
think that was an Ajax. Oh no, Rod.
Oh no, that puts Incendia in such a terrific position now. I know Sobek's sound barrier got off, of course, because it was excellent peel to allow hybrid, but now Dreamlight have got to go out. No ultimates just coming up on an overclock. Incendia are just a fight away from taking it to a map 5, and what a comeback it has been. This map, pretty clean. They're now just looking to put the final nail in the coffin.
20 seconds, one blade, and they're going to equalize here. That's the aim. Kronos going down though, so is Cookie. It's actually starting to slip away from them. Dreamlight doing well to take out the members of Incendia. One by one, they're falling apart. Dreamlight had it all. They still have the Primal to stay alive, but Cloud goes down. This Primal's not going to be enough. You can't do enough damage. It was looking so good for them. This is kind of like what happened on Servasa, but in reverse in terms of the teams. It was now Incendia that had all the ultimates. It was now Incendia that should have won it. But yeah, maybe they got a little bit too comfortable in that notion, and they have lost this fight. Dreamlight stopped them, and they have given Incendia their first loss here in the Masters division. Dreamlight really doing well for their positioning on the scoreboard, and it is a nightmare for Incendia.
I can't quite believe that it's just over like that, because I felt like for sure we were going to a map 5, and again the last fight was a little bit blurry from perspective because we saw the blade come in, it got one, but everyone was able to kite it. That second target was picked up, unfortunately, for Incendia. The disengage came in from Rod. They managed to get all the way out of there, basically making up for their Ajax in the previous fight by just living and not dying to blade to get insane heal value on the point, and allowed the respawns to come back in. And well played from Dreamlight there, because they were basically down one thanks to an ultimate that came in. Like, the blade got one right, that should be enough, but the target focus was excellent on that re-engage, just able to quickly kill Kronos. And then from there, that's all your sustain gone, and just cleaned up the point. They did have respawn advantage in the long fight, but honestly, it likely would not have mattered given how close the payload was to its objective. And I'm still like a little bit CC'd by just how the series is done. Like, that's it. There we go, Dreamlight and Incendia, as you said, their first loss. And it's in not quite peculiar scenarios, it's in an insane clutch. It just felt like all the signs were pointing to a map 5, and Dreamlight just, walked up to the routine traffic stop and said, yeah, this sign won't stop me because I can't read. What I can do is send you home.
And that is what's happened. Yeah, really well played by them. They had good choices of bans. They played really well. I mean, I think the two most important fights to look at are the end of Servasa, where we see a fight where Dreamlight on paper should have won that, and then you look at the last fight on Route 66, reverse situation. Incendia on paper should have won that fight, but again, it's a little bit of the mentality, and you kind of talked about that a bit, where it's like they got maybe too comfortable, too relaxed, like, we have this, let's just do this, too in the motions, and then they get caught out by a last minute wrecking ball pick as well.
Yeah, just as I'm sort of going through these maps in my mind, it felt like the downtime between the fights was quite short, and also I think some of these series felt so fast, right? I don't necessarily think it's obviously perks that have increased the pacing of the game. They definitely haven't slowed them down. But in general, I just think this meta, it feels like it's so fast-paced. Like, you can almost barely gather your thoughts. There's so much information to process from a caster's perspective. So, what on earth is going on inside the mind of these players? It feels like some of them must be so overstimmed after playing a series or two. That's for sure.
Yeah, I did it so fast as well.
Yeah,
it is.
Barely
any breaks between matches.
No downtime at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these players, they're used to that. They've played this game a lot, but it is constant. So you have to be on it. And there's also we don't really talk about it a lot in esports, but having energy in the bank, having stamina to do that as well, is a big boon for these players. I mean, it's what I'll say. It's been a great week for Dreamlight, right? They raised £1,340 for special effect. That was the final amount in their charity fundraiser. They've now beaten Incendia, who were or still are. I'm not sure how the standings are going to look now. The top of the standings, and that kind of helps them stay in contention for the playoffs. And of course, in this day and age of Overwatch, we are in the most wild pick, wild card kind of scenario where hey, a team like Dreamlight could come into the playoffs of Masters Division, get top 2, get into the OWCS after that, because that means they'll have qualified for that, get into the OWCS, and then maybe even surprise them. This is such an exciting time for the esport in terms of that kind of route. I'm interested to see if any of these Masters teams are going to give us a little bit of a shock in 2025.
And I think it's important to point out that Dreamlight have only been around for a couple of months, right? This is a new project. I have a lot of friends over on the Dreamlight staff, so it was actually really cool to test this series because I know a lot of people on Incendia and that work on this project, and some of the players as well have been casting them for a while. For the same for Dreamlight, vice versa in terms of their upper tier and their staff. But I think it's even just looking at like the game holistically as an esport, I think it's really cool that teams like Incendio and Dreamlight can put rosters together. They can go to Faceit Masters and they can compete. We can have excellent series like this to really showcase just Overwatch in general. Because, as I said, there's a lot of negativity around the game, a lot of burnout, a lot of competition coming in from MR, for example, as well. So to see like good viewership, good engagement, revitalized with perks, etc. And just the fact that, as I said, an org like Dreamlight can just be created. You can sign a roster and you can go ahead and pull up to Faceit Masters and hand Incendia their first loss. It just shows the playing field that is currently out for like this sort of grassroots sort of type of Faceit Masters. And it's ultimately going to be a good thing for the esport in the long run. Meta-wise, I think people are still figuring stuff out. So I guess my analysis for that would be expect to just see a lot of comfort while people figure out, okay, at certain points, perks are really broken and etc. But everyone is still figuring perks out, right? Like, it'll take a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest shake up to the game in a while. That plus hero bans. There's a lot for a pro player to keep on top of, and they're definitely feeling that workload for sure. But and it's not all over for Incendia. They're still at the top of the standings. They still have plenty of matches to play, right? On the 4th of March, we'll be seeing them go up against Devi Pero. On the 6th, of course, 0907. And then up against TA Sports, who are also up there in the standings in terms of the scoreboard. So there's plenty more matches for them to have. Yes, a loss doesn't feel great, but it just means that the story gets all the more richer. Cass and the team can go back to the drawing board, figure out what they need to do, and then go from there. So that's what you need. And I'll do another shout out to Incendia's partners, XYBA and CGL. For whom this broadcast would not be happening. So all the pretty pixels you see on the screen, including us, of course, your pretty casters, wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for XYB or CGL. But that is us for this broadcast. It does, in my gut, I feel like that was going to go like to a map 5,
I'm still a bit mentally
Marvel
prepped for a map 5.
missing.
I'm mentally prepped for a map 5. That was a bit of a sudden abrupt end. But I mean, the reason that the series did end is because Dreamlight put themselves in a really strong position, right? Like, they were 2-1 going into the map. So, at the start we were saying it's just one map they've got to play against. Incendia have to play against Dreamlight's map picks for the rest of the series. That was the Dreamlight map pick, and it was ultimately a map win just by the skin of their teeth. But ultimately, it doesn't matter how you do it. Sometimes you can not play well, or you don't have to, completely dominate the map. It's the win that counts, and that is huge for Dreamlight and their confidence going forward. So I think we've got everything done, Gio. So I guess any final thoughts or shout outs before we get out of here for the evening?
Head empty, time to play Overwatch. Let's go. Thank you to the prod room, the actual people in there, Headrammer and Hippie, for keeping the wheels running as we keep the yaps yapping. Thank you to Jace for joining me on this wonderful occasion. Hope to cast with you some more. And
absolutely.
that has been us. So don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. Good night.